Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you work with AWS, you already know the pure, unadulterated frustration of hitting an unexpected 403 error when you're dealing with Amazon S3. I mean, you're in the zone, right? Your code is compiling, you're ready to deploy, and then bam, a 403 error just totally ruins your afternoon. Your request gets rejected flat out. Today, we're unpacking a very specific, incredibly annoying S3 error, straight from a fantastic technical guide by software engineer Aaron Rose. We're looking at the infamous account problem error. Okay, let's dive into this because troubleshooting this particular error, well, it's a bit like a detective story where your usual suspects just do not apply. You're staring at your terminal, completely baffled, asking yourself, why on earth is my S3 request failing? You've got your IAM roles perfectly configured, the bucket is exactly where it should be, the routing is flawless, but S3 just keeps throwing up a brick wall. So this explainer is going to show you exactly why your usual investigation techniques might actually be leading you down the wrong path, and how you can pivot your strategy to solve the real issue. Now, here's the exact trap that catches almost everyone. The absolute most common mistake developers make when they see a 403 error is immediately troubleshooting their IAM policies. And hey, it completely makes sense, right? A 403 usually means forbidden, so we naturally assume, oh, I messed up the bucket permissions, or I forgot to attach a policy, or maybe there's a typo in the JSON document. But listen, when the error specifically flags an account problem, spending hours staring at a perfectly valid IAM JSON policy or running the simulator, it's literally a complete waste of time. The solution is somewhere else entirely. Let's anchor our understanding with the actual definition. An account problem is a 403 error, indicating AWS cannot complete your request because of an issue associated with the AWS account itself. It's actually significantly less common than your standard access denied or no such key errors. But when it does pop up, it requires a completely different mindset. You really have to stop looking at your code and just zoom out. You aren't fixing a bucket. You're addressing the foundational layer that the bucket sits on. I kind of want to act as a bit of a myth buster here. What AWS is not saying is that your permission is denied, and it is not saying that the object you're looking for doesn't exist. Those are technical resource level problems. Instead, what AWS is saying is that the account itself has an overarching problem that you've got to resolve first. So to put that into perspective, it's not an issue with your code at all. It's actually an issue with your account's administrative standing. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that in almost all of these scenarios, you likely have perfectly valid credentials and perfectly valid permissions, but the request fails anyway because the account is simply not in good standing. We're looking at administrative roadblocks. This could mean billing issues, like maybe the corporate credit card on file just expired. It could be a temporarily suspended account, incomplete account verification if you just spun up a new environment, broader AWS administrative restrictions, or even other internal account status problems, like a sudden fraud flag. Your S3 bucket is totally innocent here. It's the account itself that got locked down.
So, how do we actually fix it? Let's transition from theory to a highly tactical action plan. First off, you need to log out of your terminal and log directly into the AWS Management Console. Step 1. Verify the account status. You're looking for big red administrative notices the second you log in. Step 2. Verify your credentials. Confirm you're actually operating in the AWS account you think you are. Honestly, sometimes a rogue environment variable from a totally different project has you pointing to a suspended account without you even realizing it. And step 3. Check your AWS health notifications for any active alerts on the account.
But here's the real catch. The root cause will almost never be visible in the S3 service console itself. S3 just knows it's not allowed to process the request, and that's the end of it. To find out why, you absolutely must check these specific notification hubs. We're talking about the AWS Health Dashboard, the billing console to make sure your payments are up to date and processing correctly, and crucially, the root account email inbox. Usually, AWS will send a very clear, detailed message to that root email explaining exactly why the account is restricted. But what happens if you check all of those hubs, your billing is totally current, and the account is still restricted? Well, that is when it's time to swallow your pride and contact AWS support. If the obvious administrative fixes just aren't working, you have to escalate. Sometimes there are internal account conditions, pending manual administrative actions from AWS, or deep security flags that simply cannot be diagnosed from an S3 error message alone. So please, don't beat your head against the wall trying to code your way out of it. Just let AWS support look at the backend account status. So the crucial point is perfectly summarized by this quote from our source material by Aaron Rose: when you see account problem, focus on the AWS account before focusing on the bucket. If you take away just one mental model from this whole explainer, let it be this ultimate debugging directive. Seriously,
Stop rewriting your code, stop endlessly tweaking those perfectly valid IAM permissions, and go verify the health of your AWS account.
This actually brings us to a crucial question about your overall engineering philosophy. Is your underlying AWS administrative foundation as robust as your code? Think about it. We spend hundreds of hours automating our infrastructure, testing our software, and refining our IAM roles, but a simple expired credit card on the root account can bring that entire, beautifully designed architecture to a grinding halt. You have to treat your administrative health as a critical, non-negotiable component of your cloud infrastructure. Check your billing, monitor your root email, and keep that foundation strong. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy troubleshooting.